Good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in. Happy week 8, everybody. We are here to talk NFL, DFS, betting, prop bets, touchdowns, whatever we get into. I believe I will be solo today. So I'm going to run through, we'll probably go position by position from the DFS side of the coin, talk through some of that. And then we will talk each game and kind of go from there. We do have some big news we are waiting on. If you're in the chat, let me know how you're doing. Say good morning. We have really, this is the first time this season I can remember getting just crazy news like that on a Saturday. Obviously, Lamar Jackson news came out yesterday, and then the Drake London getting downgraded to questionable. I don't really think you can finalize a team until we know this Drake London news, at least in cash games. If you're gonna not play, Darnell Mooney or whoever in tournaments, that's well and good. But from a cash perspective, I don't think you can finalize your cash team until we get this Drake London news here towards the top of the hour. I don't think we've been waiting on a piece of news that big this season yet. So that adds an interesting dynamic to the slate. Kevin, what's up? CJ, Dewan, Mitchell, Ryan, Guru, what's up? All right. So if we want to start from an overview perspective, 10 games. There's some decent games, right? I would say, a lot of attention is going to be pushed into the later window, which adds an interesting dynamic from the, if you're team building process. A lot of chalk will be coming in the late games in the Tampa New Orleans game or the Dallas Denver game. I think that's the two games that people are interested in addition to Atlanta, the Falcons. So, and then you also have the Eagles, I guess, who are thin with no AJ Brown. But overall, I think from a totals perspective and just people's general interest, everybody wants to play Tampa, New Orleans, and then you also have the Dallas and Denver game, which people want to play too. So, and both those are late games. So, kind of what you want to do in the early slate. If you hit on some low on plays, maybe you can get on to those games with late swap. If you're fading those games, maybe if you hit on some stuff in there the window, you can kind of make your decisions there. What's up, Leroy? So that kind of thinking through that is interesting. And then I do think if we get no Drake London, I think the Kirk Cousins stuff will end up being pretty high owned in tournaments because it's just too easy to play Cousins with. You can put Bijan in there too and just play Cousins, Bijan, Mooney, Pitts, and it doesn't really cost you any money. So you can still get up to any other high owned plays. You also have Jonathan Taylor in the late window, who's going to be pretty high owned. So lots of high ownership tags in the late slate, and seeing what you do in this early window is going to dictate a lot when it comes to late swap versus sticking to your team. We'll do DFS first, and then we will talk some bets towards the end. So let's start at the quarterback position. I see your question, Ryan. Who are your must-plays DraftKings cash? I will get into that now. So starting off at quarterback, I think earlier this week, a lot of people were going to be playing Bo Nix in cash games. I still think Bo Nix is in play. I still think Jalen Hurts is in play. But I think the popular build will be to just drop down to Kirk Cousins at 4,400 against the Miami Dolphins. Just gave up 30 points to the Browns. There's a chance that the Dolphins just completely bottom out and, maybe Kirk Cousins doesn't have to do anything. But at the same time, the Dolphins, even though their defense is terrible, I've said it on stream multiple times. I think that this Dolphins defense is arguably the worst I've ever seen. They still do operate a little bit as a pass funnel defense. So there's game scripts where Kirk Cousins, has a really good game passing at a cheap price tag. There's also game scripts to where even though the Dolphins' run defense isn't that bad, they just completely bottom out, and Bijan just completely dominates, and Kirk Cousins doesn't have to do anything. But from a cash game perspective, I do think it's smart to play Kirk Cousins on DraftKings at 4,400. FanDuel, I don't know if you need to go down that far at quarterback. I just stick because you're getting Bo Nix and Daniel Jones are in that 7K tier. I'd probably look at them on the FanDuel side of things. I haven't finalized my teams, like I said, on either side because I'm waiting for the Drake London stuff, but that's kind of what I'm looking at there. So cash games, probably just going cheap. If you want to try and get up to Bo Nix on DraftKings, you could, but probably going cheap there. From a tournament perspective, I have more quarterbacks in my pool today than I typically ever have. And it's because I think there's so many good, there's some really good high-owned plays today that I feel confident in. So when we get slates like this where it's pretty chalky, but I like the chalk plays and I want to play them in tournaments, that increases the likelihood of me getting weird with my stacks. So that increases the amount of players in my player pool at quarterback. So I think you can build a case for really anyone here. Starting at the top, we go Bo Nix, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Spencer Rattler, Joe Flacco, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, CJ Stroud, Drake May, Dak Prescott. I mean, I just rattled off 8 or 9 guys. I think all those guys are in my pool. From guys that I like more so maybe than the field, I think Daniel Jones is such a strong tournament play today. Every single person wants to put in Jonathan Taylor into their lineups. Daniel Jones is kind of expensive in relation to some of the other stacks. So I think getting up to Daniel Jones with Tyler Warren, like a clear stacking partner in Tyler Warren, makes a lot of sense. And then if you want to put Jonathan Taylor in that stack, you can. I probably would skip it. Put in Bijan with Daniel Jones and Warren. I kind of like starting off that. And I don't think anyone's going to play Daniel Jones today on DraftKings. So I really like Daniel Jones today from a tournament angle. I'm good with all the cheap guys being Flacco, Rattler, Cousins. All those guys are fine. You're not going to get any pushback from me on those guys. The interesting one would be he's in that tier as well. He's 5,100, CJ Stroud. It's kind of like he doesn't need to do much at that price tag, 5,100. Now, you guys know, if you watch the streams, there's been nobody that has ripped on the Houston Texans as much as I have. I think Nick Caley is a Nepo hire. John Carroll Brotherhood should not be the offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. That being said, the 49ers defense is banged up. It's 5,100. Could he get you 2-3 passing touchdowns? I don't know. The reason why I think CJ Stroud is in play alongside Rattler, Flacco, and those cheap guys, Kirk Cousins, is because of with no Nico, with how banged up the Texans pass catching group is, you're able to stack CJ Stroud extremely cheap. So you can put CJ Stroud in at 5,100. You can put Jalen Noel or Jaden Higgins in at 3,500, and you can put Dalton Schultz in at 3,300. So you have effectively spent, a very small amount. Let me add that up. So it's 51. You're spending not even $12K in DraftKings salary on your double stack. And then you can spend up for anybody. If you want Bijan, if you want Jonathan Taylor, if you want Jamar Chase, easy to fit in the studs alongside it. So while I don't necessarily have the confidence in the Houston Texans offense, like I do, the Bengals against the Jets or the Saints against the Bucks or even the Atlanta Falcons there with Kirk Cousins, I don't have the same confidence level in the Texans offense as those teams. It's very, very easy for me to stack them to where I can still fit in players from those teams that I like alongside it. If you're stacking Joe Flacco, you're spending up for Jamar Chase. if you are stacking Rattler, you're not spending up, but still Chris Olave is like 6K. And then if you're doing Kirk Cousins, you're obviously going to have like Bijan. Now, the thing would be if Drake London's out, you can pick and choose. Do you want a cheap double Kirk Cousins or a cheap double CJ Stroud? I'd probably lean the Kirk Cousins side of that. So that would change things for me. But for right now, I do think CJ Stroud is in play at low projected ownership as well. I think all quarterbacks are in play, though. If you guys like someone that I didn't mention, you're not going to get any pushback from me here. I think this is a wide open quarterback slate. I want to plug in some players I like at the other spots and then see what stack fits around it. Moving on to running back. Running back, pretty tight pool for me today there. I think from like a cash game perspective, last week I lost cash games because I did not want to play double tight end. I came on the stream. I told you, I said playing double tight end is not fun. I don't want to do it. And it cost me. Now, today is National Tight Ends Day. So if you want to play double tight end, you're allowed to today. I do think the popular cash game build on DraftKings will be 2 tight end again. So I think from a cash game pool at running back, you're looking at Bijan is going to be super high owned. Everyone's going to play him. Rashad White is going to be super high owned. Everyone's going to play him. And then Jonathan Taylor is going to be high owned as well. Do I think teams will play Bijan, Taylor, and White? I don't. I don't think that will end up being the popular build unless we get Drake London out. I'd have to go run through things, but there may be a build where you can use Darnell Mooney at receiver and get those 3 running backs in. So the Drake London stuff is hanging in the balance here, and that's going to change a lot. But right now, I think those 3 guys, Robinson, White, Taylor, are going to be very high owned. After that, I don't really know where people are going to go. I think Derrick Henry was going to be really, really high owned when we thought Lamar was going to play. Now, no Lamar. So what will that do to Derrick Henry's ownership? I'm not sure. I'm still fine with Derrick Henry in tournaments. I'm not going to play him in cash games with Lamar out, but I think for tournaments, Henry is still very much fine. Saquon Barkley is fine in tournaments. I've been burned time and time again playing Saquon this year, so I kind of just have no desire to play him, but he's more than in play home against the Giants there. For a cheaper guy that I like, Chase Brown. Again, this could be a little natural leverage off of the Bengals passing game. It's still a good matchup. The Jets are bad defense all across. Chase Brown showed some signs of life in that game against the Steelers. He's 5,400. So I think Chase Brown is an interesting tournament play there. If you want to pivot off of the Bengals passing game, that really does it for me. If you want to play James Cook in a tournament, it's fine. If you want to play Javonte Williams in a tournament, it's fine. I have a really, really tight pool at running back today. And I'm just going to ride with kind of the studs and then maybe like a Chase Brown in the mid-tier alongside Derrick Henry at 6K. Those are kind of the guys that I'm focused on there. No Dobbins for me today, Mitchell. If I was playing Dak, I would probably just double stack Dak. And I don't think you need a run back. If you want to use a run back, I'd pick Troy Franklin from the Broncos. Just another cheap receiver would be my pick there. Dewan, have fun at the Wizards game. Playing 1 o'clock only. Good luck with that. Favorite low-owned stack for the 1 o'clock only? I would say... I mean, the Houston stuff I was talking about would fit into that. So probably that, to be honest with you. Leroy, you said Swift, Dowdle, Dobbins, Kamara rank for season long. And would you play any over a quarterback in Superflex? Leroy, can you post your quarterbacks for me? That might help my decision a little bit. And then I will rank those guys for you. Who's your favorite Texans wide receiver today in the Stroud stuff, and is it a CMC run back? I do think it's a CMC run back, although I like George Kittle too. I don't think anyone wants to play George Kittle. He got a 0 last Sunday night, first game back, but I think he's fine. Like, he's going to be healthier today. Another week back. I think it was like it was talked about in the media. Like, he had no catches or anything last week. I think that'll change today. And he's in that perfect price range as a pivot off of some of the other chalky tight ends. So I do like George Kittle today as well. But in my Stroud, I do have a Stroud lineup built currently, and I do have CMC as the run back. As far as favorite Texans receiver, I like Jalen Noel personally as my pick there. Mac and Flacco. I think Mac and Flacco is still fine. Like Flacco has been good since joining Cincy, and Mac Jones has been good too. So I think you're probably fine there with those quarterbacks. As far as the Swift, Dowdle, Dobbins, Kamara, I would go Kamara probably number 1. I would go Swift probably number 2. So I think those two are firm 1 and 2 for me. Kamara and Swift. And then I'd probably go Dowdle followed by Dobbins is how I would rank those guys personally. Kamara, Swift. Actually, I don't know. I guess just the Cowboys thing. Let me reevaluate this, Leroy. Let me go Kamara, Dobbins, Swift, Dowdle. That's how I would rank them. Kamara, Dobbins, Swift, Dowdle. But I'm still fine with the quarterbacks over one of those. CJ, DraftKings Cash 3v3, HN, Noel, Saints versus Olave, Goddard, Texans. I would take the second one there pretty firmly. Ryan, Stevenson, Bill, or Golden, full PPR season long. Man, that is tough. I think you probably just ride Stevenson at that point, Ryan, but it is that's rough. I think you ride Stevenson though. For a 6-point passing touchdown league, I would go Cousins over Fields, CJ. Fields or Williams today, I would probably take Ryan, is that a season-long question or a DFS question? So much Tez for me today, Mitchell. Yeah, I like Tez. If you're playing Tampa, New Orleans, I like Tez over Ibuka today. I just question if Ibuka is actually healthy, and he's a good bit more expensive. So he could certainly burn me with a couple touchdowns, but I think Tez Johnson, Matt and I talked about him the last time Matt was on the stream. Tez Johnson really kind of profiles to me as the type of guy that finds success in the NFL these days with how quick he is, short to intermediate. I think he can get open really fast. Clearly, Baker has a nice rapport with him. He scored a couple touchdowns the last few weeks. So I love Tez today. If I'm playing Baker, I would stack him with Tez. And if I'm playing Rattler, I would use Tez on the opposite side over Ibuka. Taking a stand on that one today. Season-long, Ryan, so you said Fields or Williams. I don't know, man. I would have those guys pretty closely ranked. It's a coin flip for me. So if you have an odd feeling about Fields and you want to ride them, I'm fine with it. I would have them side by side probably. I don't have a strong conviction one way or the other. So if you're leaning Fields, I'd rock it and trust it and just go with that. DST. Let me get through the other positions and we'll talk DST. Moving on to receiver. I think Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, Chris Olave, those are like your high-owned guys right now. Drake London probably would have been in that tier, but now we have this uncertainty around his injury. We don't know if he's playing, but I think Chase, Smith, Olave pretty firmly are going to be pretty high-owned at receiver. And then you have guys mixing in Ibuka, Shaheed, Tez, Waddle, Sutton, T. Higgins. Darnell Mooney, if no London, would get a huge rise. So Darnell Mooney would enter that top 3 conversation for me for cash game. has – can you guys hear me also? Can someone in the chat let me know if you can hear me? Because I think my internet was messing up there. I'm going to wait a sec until someone confirms if you can hear me or not. Just came back. Okay, perfect. Froze for a minute, but back. All right. Yeah, I don't know what's up. My internet is pretty good, but the last couple days it's been messing up. I'm going to close some tabs and see if that helps some things. Last got Mooney would enter top 3. Yeah, so if Drake London is out, Darnell Mooney would enter that top 3 in the cash game conversation for me. From a tournament perspective, I like Jerry Jeudy a lot today. Nobody wants to play him. He's projected for 1% ownership, I think, on DraftKings. Feels very, very gross. But I think no one is kind of baking in. New England has operated very heavily as a pass funnel defense this year. They've been great against the run. They've not been as good against the pass. Now, some of that can be attributed to Christian Gonzalez being in and out of the lineup. He's obviously in today. But the Browns, I don't know if they're going to find success running the football today. We've seen the Browns operate pass-heavy game scripts before. Just 2 games ago against the Steelers, Dylan Gabriel had over 50 pass attempts. And, that didn't necessarily work out on the road against the Steelers. But I think you can take advantage of this New England Patriots secondary. I don't know if the Browns offense or if Dylan Gabriel is individually good enough to take advantage of that. But the spot tells me that this should be a pass-heavy spot for the Browns. Jerry Jeudy is like the number 1 differential in actual fantasy points versus expected fantasy points, fantasypoints.com. He is due for a big game. Again, I don't know if the Browns offense is good enough to take advantage of it, but I'm taking a stand with Jerry Jeudy today in tournaments. I'm betting some of his prop overs. His receiving line is very low. It's like 42.5. So I think I like Jerry Jeudy in tournaments. Drake London is officially out. So that definitely changes some things. I'm going to have to re-rack projections here after the stream and see what that does. But like I said, Darnell Mooney is certainly a cash game lock for me now on DraftKings. I would be playing him. I'd probably play him in cash games on both sites now, Darnell Mooney. So, and then from a tournament perspective, like I said, I think this is going to steam up Kirk Cousins a lot. It's very, very easy to just onslaught the Falcons, Cousins, Bijan, Pitts, and Mooney, and get out of there with a cheap onslaught. So I think that's going to really, really bump up that Atlanta ownership. Makes the Houston stuff even more interesting to me for larger field tournaments, because I do think there was some potential that people would get on to Houston there just because of how cheap it was, like I explained, to stack them. With everyone just able to do Cousins now, it's a much more comfortable click. So, yeah, I still like Houston from tournaments, but I think that Cousins stuff is going to get pretty popular. Continuing at receiver, other than Jeudy for tournaments, I like I said to Ryan earlier, I like Jalen Noel as my Houston guy today. If you're picking one of their receivers, I like Tez over Ibuka. I like CeeDee Lamb a good amount. So again, don't think people will want to play CeeDee Lamb over Jamar Chase because of the differential in projection and just the game that Jamar Chase just had against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think anyone will want to play CeeDee Lamb over him, but this Dallas offense passing has been pretty prolific. Tough matchup against Surtain, but they can move CeeDee Lamb around a little bit. I don't know. I like CD in tournaments, and I don't think people will play him despite Dallas having a pretty solid team total. It's one of the better games from a total perspective on the slate as well. So over 50. So give me some CeeDee Lamb action in tournaments. Give me some Jerry Jeudy action in tournaments as well. Going to tight end here. Schultz, Goddard are probably your 2 main guys in terms of ownership. Tony, what's up? That's probably where you're looking at from a chalk perspective. Like I said, I do think it. So coming onto the stream, I thought it was a double tight end week. Now with Mooney, I don't know if we'll need to do that. I'll have to look at stuff after the stream. But Schultz and Goddard are going to be your two highest owned tight ends there. I really like Tyler Warren in tournaments. I really like George Kittle in tournaments. And then if you want to get super gross, Mason Taylor, in tournaments with, I mean, they're so banged up at pass catcher. There's a path to Mason Taylor getting, 8-9 targets today. And then if you're going to play any Justin Fields stuff, I would stack him up with Mason Taylor. I might actually do that, bro. I don't know. Is Breece Hall good today? God, I don't know. I'm sick of Breece Hall. If you want to play him in tournaments, I think it's fine. I wouldn't play him in cash. Kincaid, yeah, any tight end, any of those cheap tight ends are fine in tournaments. Should we make a Justin Fields team on the stream? The last 3 weeks I've made a team on stream, it's done pretty well. So I don't know. Is there any mid-sized tournament I could put this in? I guess there's a $50 or the $88. Let me see here. I don't even know if I want to wager 88 American dollars on Justin Fields. I don't have a team in the red zone right now. We'll put it in there. Chat, let's build this live on stream. Justin's killed us twice already. He's on the list. He is on the list, but I don't know. I guess I just can't quit him, I guess. Hold on. Let me enter the contest and then we'll make a team on stream. Revenge game against his owner today. After we get through this DFS stuff, we will talk bets and props if you guys are waiting for that. All right, I'm in the red zone. So let's see here. Let me go into the lineup. So I don't know. Do we want to double? Someone in the chat. I need the chat's help with this. We're going to play Justin Fields. We're going to play Mason Taylor. Do we want to play Breece Hall too? Or can we not stomach that? Do we want to single stack Justin Fields, or are we going to double him up with Breece Hall? That's our question. I know I'm going to put Bijan on this team, most likely, but I don't know. Let's see if we want to play Breece Hall. Obviously, we're going to put Jamar Chase on the opposite side. Obviously, we'll just put a cheap defense in for now, and then I'll come back to defense and see what we can do. So I have Justin Fields, Jamar Chase, Mason Taylor. Ryan wants to add Breece. I'm fine adding Breece as much as I hate him. So we'll put him in there at 61. So we have 63 per position left for a running back, 2 receivers, and our flex. Trying to think this through. I mean, this is a probably pretty low owned, even with Chase in there right now. So we could comfortably play some chalk from this later slate, whether it be JT, whether it be some Tampa, New Orleans stuff. We can put that in and see how this goes. And then, we would decide if we need to late swap later on. I'm comfortable. If we did we could do a cheap mini stack from that New Orleans Tampa game with Tez Johnson. And let me see. Teams have been running on Cincy. They have tight ends have been crushing Cincy too, though. I mean, the Steelers 8 tight ends scored against them. Wanted to see if we could fit in JT and Bijan, but I don't think that's going to be possible unless we got off of Breece. Let me see. If we put in JT and we put in Robinson, that gives you 4K, though. I don't know if I want to do that. All right, scrap that idea. We need to pick one of Bijan and Jonathan Taylor. We need to pick one. And we'll keep Breece in. So Fields, Breece, Chase, Mason Taylor, cheap defense right now. Bijan versus JT. Do you like Schultz or Goddard more in cash if you're only playing one? Probably Schultz just because he's a little bit cheaper. And I'll probably have Devonta Smith, so there's no need for me to double on Eagles if I don't have to. But I don't know what I'm playing at this point until I get off stream. I got to look at how this Drake London stuff affects things. I'm gonna have a lot of Bijan. So I would be fine doing Taylor over him. Oh man, it's split. Garrett wants Bijan. Dewan wants JT. We need one more vote. Someone from the chat break the tiebreaker. Whoever types it first, Bijan or JT is going in. We have a dead tie. Let me just I don't want my internet to mess up, but I kind of want to JT. Okay, I kind of want to see if I can sim something really quick. Hopefully this doesn't tank my internet. Piece of JT as well. All right, we'll do JT. We'll do JT. Let me see if I can plug those guys in and just sim something quickly and see kind of what we could come up with. Let me do this quick. Okay, so we put in Justin Fields. We're putting in Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Jamar Chase, and Mason Taylor. All right, let me see what we can get from that. They do sit JT early when they're up a lot. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Hopefully he would do a part in that though, I guess. Most obvious Algier 2-touchdown game. Yeah, CJ, honestly, I'm a little bit worried about that too. I have Bijan in right now for my touchdown survivor. We're down to 116 people in the pool. I have Bijan in right now, but I would be lying if I said I'm not nervous about it. Like, for me to say I'm nervous about a guy that's, what is he, he's minus 240 to score a touchdown, and I'm nervous about it, but I am nervous. All right, so looking at this, I mean, simming this, I'm still getting a lot of, who else for touchdown survivor? Yeah, I have Bijan right now in mine. If you can't use him, God, maybe Derrick Henry, but I don't even know if that is trustworthy. But who I've been debating, Henry, Bijan. That's kind of what I'm thinking through right now. Ben, you are up on the Brown stuff. Any word on Njoku? I did not reach out to my guy today, so I don't have a firm answer on that, Tony, right now. I should have messaged him last night, but I did not. Mason and Pitts. Yeah. So, okay. So looking at the sims for this, I'm still getting a lot of the top ones. I'm still getting 2 tight ends on. There's also one with Rashad, so a 3 tight end, but that would be double cheap receiver. So I don't know if we want to go double. Do we want to go double cheap receiver, or are we fine with the two tight ends? Actually, I kind of like this one. What do you guys think about this? Henry or Olave in cash? I'd play Olave, CJ. I do think he will play Tony. I just don't know how much. And I haven't seen official word on that yet. Yeah, he is active. He is active. I just don't know how much he's going to play. Guys, what do you think about this? So we put in Fields, Breece, Chase, Taylor, cheap defense, that being the New York Giants. So we put Jonathan Taylor in the flex, and then we just mini stack Rashad White and Chris Olave. So that's how I said, like, we can play. This is all low owned, this Field stuff. So we can play some chalk in the late window. If the Field stuff hits, we can stay on it. If Fields stinks, then, we would have to pivot off this and try and salvage a min cash there. But so we mini stack Rashad and Chris Olave. And then that gives you 3,500. So we can put in Jalen Noel, who I said I like as my Houston guy. And we don't have Dalton Schultz. So there's no worry about the double Houston there. So built this lineup on stream. The last 2 weeks, stream builds have been good. Justin Fields, Breece Hall, Rashad White, Jamar Chase, Jalen Noel, Chris Olave, Mason Taylor, Jonathan Taylor, and the New York Giants defense. I put this in the red zone, which is the $50 single entry on DraftKings. I think like 5K to first or something. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes, but I can't quit Justin Fields for whatever reason. All right. As far as betting stuff goes, we'll finish out here, and then I got to go finish my teams because I don't even know what I'm playing now with this London stuff. But I like the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight, getting 3 points at home against the Green Bay Packers. This is last week was such a classic fade Mike Tomlin spot. Tonight is such a classic, like, buy back in. The Packers have issues playing down to their competition. We saw it last week with Arizona. Yeah, I like the Steelers getting 3 tonight. I have not bet on the Steelers all year. I hate the Steelers. They're frauds. They're not good, but I'm betting on them tonight, getting 3 at home. I'm also running a 6-point teaser. I haven't done a teaser all year either, but I like this one, Cowboys and San Francisco. So 6-point teaser would get you up to San Fran plus 8.5, Cowboys plus 9.5. I am playing that. I told you at the receiver section of the DFS, I like Judy today. I'm going to take his over receiving line at 42.5. I'm going to take some small sprinkles on some alternate lines there. I'm going to bet Judy anytime touchdown as well. Obviously, with it being National Tight Ends Day, I will run a tight end touchdown round robin. That's just for fun. All the tight ends scored last year, and everyone knows that. So I'm sure we'll get like no tight end touchdowns this year. That would just be fitting. But that's really it from the betting perspective. You crushed on ladders last week. Sutton and Addison. Who do you like this week? Yeah. God, it's gross, but Jerry Jeudy would be one for me, and then probably I like Jalen Noel, honestly, man. Judy and Noel both are low, like prop lines, so you could get some nice odds on them to go higher. But yeah, Addison was big for us last week. Survivor top 2 teams. Without knowing like who you have left, I would be fine using Philly here. I think they bounced back and beat the New York Giants after they lost to them a few weeks ago. I would be fine using the Atlanta Falcons if you have them available. That'd probably be my top 2 there. Overall, though, thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck today. CJ, I would take the probably, I don't know. I guess the second one. That's kind of tough. It's hard for me to answer, CJ, just because I haven't looked at like what I'm going to be playing yet. Upsets today. The Niners are underdogs to the Houston Texans. They could certainly win outright. The Houston Texans are not good. So I would say 49ers. Cowboys beat the Broncos outright. I might bet that. I might bet Cowboys money line. I think the Cowboys beat the Denver Broncos outright. So that would be my 2 upset picks. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck today. If you're betting, playing DFS, any of that, I will be live tomorrow at 4 o'clock. We'll recap today. We'll talk Monday Night Football. We'll talk NBA. We'll talk, sure, there's other stuff to talk about as well. College football. I didn't really get to recap college football at the jump. We'll do that tomorrow as well. Yeah, I'm going to go finish my teams, and I will see everybody tomorrow.